Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this League of Legends tournament here at Ghengis. This is going to be the finals here between Stars and Fraudulent 5, so we're going to go jump right into the pick and ban phase for you guys here, as we will have Fraudulent 5 on the blue side and Stars, or Fraudulent 5 on the red side and Stars on the blue side, excuse me, as bans coming out, Akali and Alistair, you got the precision ban, you got the favor ban there, taking it out for the Ultima Zero, and then of course Alistair, still a strong pick, as well as Poppy and Jan.
Yeah, Poppy John are going to come out. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, to see a Lysandra ban here for the third ban. That's just something that really Ultima has had a lot of success on today.
Yeah. Well, it's been really, really good. Jan has been banned out for a good amount of the upper bracket of this tournament. She's just something that provides a lot of utility and disengage from her team. As well as, Poppy bringing in that bruiserness, as well as Lysandra finally being banned against Ultima Zero. So you've got Akali out and you've got Lysandra out. We'll have to see what Ultima Zero has to dig deeper in his pocket to pull out what he needs for that mid lane. But at least also banned out Mr. Snuggles, not going to be able to use that one in the jungle, but it did leave a lot of OPs open at the moment. One of them specifically, I have to say Zac for Snuggles, though it's not the greatest, but there's other ones out there.
Yeah, Zac is definitely a good jungler for Snuggles. I don't think they're going to be first picking it, though. It's not really going to be a contested pick.
No.
Although Kawhi, when he did play also a lot of Zac as well. I don't think they're going to pick it up early. I would look for potentially a top lane pick coming out here, or another early game AD carry, like a Lucian, potentially. We'll see Soraka also is still up. That's something some teams have not been afraid to pick up early. I would most likely think they're going to be picking up Ronaldo's champion or Lulu, which could be Lulu, but probably not. I assume they're going to give that to Talus.
It could be Talus's, or it could be Sawyer's. You never know. Lulu can go anywhere. She's one of those flexible champions as it is, can go in a lot of roles and can cover a lot of ground. And how we see now Ultima Zero hovering over Corki at the moment. Corki, pretty strong AD carry marksman, as well as being a good, decent hybrid mid laner.
Right.
We'll have to see how that works out for them and see where they'll put that.
Yeah, that could be Ultima's fallback.
It's not fully locked in, so we'll still have to see how that goes for them. And Enta's still waiting for a reply on him, but yep, Corki will be that lock-in for Ultima Zero. Still need to know where that is, but there's the Soraka pickup there from Entis, so that Bananas and all of those heals are going to be on the side of Fraudulent 5.
Yeah, and this Soraka pickup, as I was saying earlier, is very dangerous.
Yeah.
I was expecting to see a more aggressive support pick into the Soraka last time Entis played it, and they ended up going passive into it. I expect that Sawyer is going to be picking something much more aggressive, like a Blitzcrank, a Thresh, like something that can get her displaced and into the team.
Yeah, we see now Snuggles blocking in the Rek'Sai, pretty much his backup after the Elise, and then Talus going to be going for Kalista for Nier, picking up that up for him. And Nier, he's still a really well-renowned Kalista player in those higher ELOs, but getting that with possibly either the Lulu or another support, we'll have to see how that one turns out for them. But Geronimo hovering over Draven, Jhin, just showing him his champion pool right now.
Right. Mundo in there.
Mundo AD carry OP please there. And locking in the Draven, so bringing in with his confident comfort. And Event bringing in Nunu. Now, will Nunu be going with Kawaii, or will it be going somewhere else?
That's gotta be
expecting
Kawaii.
a jungle.
Yeah.
So yeah. And with that, all they have to reveal now is their top laner at the moment.
Yeah,
so.
you gotta assume they're gonna pick something tanky for that top lane. After picking double AD carry, I wouldn't be surprised to see. I guess they could float it either way, depending. It's kind of dangerous to go with something like a Fiora into that team comp. Depends on how aggressive they want to be in lanes. We'll see exactly what Stars are going to pick up. That'll probably give us a better look at what that Frog 5 will pick up in that top lane, because he does get the counter in the top lane, and we'll get to see if that Lulu is going to be top or mid. And Sawyer is actually hovering. That's Yasuo or God.
Maybe not the best, but they're gonna lock it in. We'll have to see if those are gonna be placeholders or if those are gonna be for real.
I would assume those are real.
Possibly, yeah. You like what I'm seeing is, I think you're seeing this too. You got Lulu support with Callista, and then Urgot, I'm being in the top lane there, and then Yasuo in that mid with the rest of it. So that is a possibility there by Stars, and then really now they just have to figure out what they want to do, what they want to throw into that Urgot top lane on the side of Project 5.
Yeah, pretty interesting to see this Yasuo pick. The Yasuo Urgot is definitely what we need to look at. I don't think... I feel like it's gotta be a support Yasuo. They're just gonna Callista ult, throw Yasuo in, get the knock up, get the ult.
Okay.
But also, I mean, more likely it's gonna be Lulu support.
Yeah.
But with the Urgot is really just an interesting pick. I guess you could Urgot into Corki and play that Yasuo in the top lane.
It's a possibility, but we see Teemo being locked in.
Yeah, so that's going to be another placeholder there.
Teemo's Rise, I've heard, so that's going to be that one. And we'll figure out what those other placeholders are, if there are any, but looks like we'll
Gnar
be
Rise. So it looks like Urgot is Gnar for Ronaldo. That makes way more sense.
much more sense. And I don't know if Yasuo is sticking, but it could be Rise instead. Let's see for that one. Or if it's just those two placeholders.
I think the Teemo was for Rise, for event.
Yeah.
And
then the Gnar was for the Urgot.
yeah, which I don't know how you don't have Rise. Isn't that a 450 champion?
Yes. And you also get it for free if you've won a tournament.
That's true. I don't know if
Have they not won tournaments?
I don't know. I don't know if that's a completely new account for
that, or they
Catalan.
decided it last second and they just decided, you know what, let's just hold it and not try and panic it and that kind of stuff. But with that,
looks like they're trying to figure out what they're doing with this champ select right now.
yeah, and it's kind of awkward when you have so many different picks coming out that are just sort of off meta in a sense that we didn't expect them. So maybe they don't know either with that. So on that, Yasuo also very interesting. Going into a mid lane against Corki, don't know how effective that would be though, because he's got Gatling gun. It does block Phosphorus Bomb and it does block his rockets. However, I don't know if it would be the greatest pickup against Corki.
Yeah, once he has flash and if he has jungle pressure, it will do a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Yasuo pickup. Yasuo also puts out a lot of damage, level 1, level 2, so it really pressures Corki off that wave, if done correctly.
For sure on that one, so let's see how that's going on that. And
So-
with that, we're just going to do
One of these, we're used to these, just burning through pick ban phase. We should
Yeah.
get back into this game fairly quickly.
It kind of shows the intensity of how these picks and ban phases are going, is that they're needing these placeholders. So it just, they're thinking so much about what they need and like how they're going to mix it in, who's going to get that. So really, it shows that desire to win this finals, which, as a matter of fact, is a best of 5. For just to let you all know that we will be here for a little bit longer then, as it usually is with the finals. And with that, we'll start seeing these picks float in fairly quickly with all of these champions being run into.
Yeah, so there we see Ronaldo picking up that Gnar, so that was that Urgot pick. And then we should see Event here picking up Rise.
Yeah. So, quick rundown of how these team comps are going to be. In the side of blue, on the Stars team, they're going to have Ronaldo on Gnar, Snuggles on Rek'Sai, Talus is going to be running that Yasuo in the mid lane, Nier and Sawyer being Callista and Lulu respectively in that bot lane. So with that, they'll be having some pretty interesting matchups against themselves. Event's going to be running that Rise in the top lane. Ultima Zero is going to be hanging around in mid on Corki. You have Kawaii Desu farming up through the jungle on Nunu, and then Geronimo and Soraka on Entis. So Draven being on Geronimo as it is in the bot lane. Let's once again, as we're going into this 3-minute delay here, count down and really just sort of analyze pick by pick, roll by roll, how they're going to be running out in the earlier part of this game. As Gnar versus Rise, you think you think Event will take a lot of harass from Rise, but the way that he's been playing, it seems like he really understands these matchups.
Yeah.
And will eventually just out farm and just out harass Ronaldo.
Yeah, we saw this matchup earlier. However, we saw the build to go kind of odd. He didn't go for Hex Drinker early, so that lost him a lot of pressure in lane. He actually started going Spirit Visage and then switched to Hex Drinker. So it was a half build, so not something we would expect out of Ronaldo. Ronaldo is going to be very aware about this matchup.
Yep.
So I don't think Event is going to have as much of free roam in this matchup as we saw against Tatash Gaming.
Yeah. And with that, going into the jungle, you've got Kawaii on Nunu and Snuggles on Rek'Sai. Once again, more of objective control versus lane control. Being gank heavy versus being able to clear and claim those objectives a lot faster and more efficiently, and even in solo if you need to with that consume on Nunu. So looking at that, I don't know how well Nunu will be doing up later on in the team fights. I just think that Rek'Sai right now has the advantage throughout the game.
I agree. I think Rek'Sai is a stronger jungler overall. However, Nunu into double 80 carry comps does very well. Because two people to Blood Boil. Also, his ult is great peel for 80 carries because he can just set down ult directly in front of them, and they're going to have to use some sort of knockup. However, if you look at Star's lineup, they're stacked with ways of stopping that Nunu channel.
Yep.
I mean, every single person on the team has a way of stopping Nunu channel.
Yep.
So I think Kawaii, that pick was pretty interesting. The Blood Boil and the early pressure, I think he's going to have to do something early in lanes.
I guess he's just trying to be a front line for the team. However, if that's what it is going to be, I'd say go for more of a comfort pick like Sejuani or Vi.
Right.
That also can counter gank and be more effective later on as well. But as you said, it will be able to peel for things such as Geronimo and Entus on those two very squishy carries and that supportive carry in a way that Soraka can be. So with that, Ultima Zero and Talus. So this is an interesting matchup because we haven't seen Yasuo yet. He did bring Ignite, and Ultima Zero did as well, so I'm expecting a lot of trading back and forth, as Yasuo has a strong early game, so he might be looking for possible harassment. Maybe not a kill, unless there's a jungler there, or later on into like level 4, level 5 range, but outside of that, I think just all the pressure going in for Yasuo, as Ultima is going to try and struggle through it and just outrun.
This is definitely where you see the synergy of Stars and their champ select more than Fraud 5.
Yeah.
If you look at the mid lane, it's a kind of huge disadvantage advantage in my opinion for Stars. Rek'Sai Yasuo combo is very, very strong. As a ganking lane, really all you need is that Rek'Sai, if she has flash up, she can flash knock up, and that Corki is definitely going to have to Valkyrie away, if not blow other summoners directly behind it.
Yeah.
And if at any point in time they catch Corki down with not having Valkyrie up, he's dead.
Yep.
It's just over. So, whereas like Kawaii isn't going to provide much ganking pressure for Corki. They don't have any way to lock it down Yasuo, especially if he win walls.
Yeah.
Like most of the damage coming out of both Kawaii and Ultima Zero can be win walled.
Yep.
So I don't think there's too much pressure in that mid lane. So really Stars, I think, just coming out with a better lineup overall.
Yeah, unfortunately for the side, I probably was running 5. But then running down into that bot lane, you've got Kalista and Lulu against Draven and Soraka. And with that, the way that we saw Geronimo play with that lineup, because they did play this recently, just back in the semifinals, they did that Draven Soraka lane, and he was extremely aggressive. Right. So up against Kalista, nearest Kalista as a matter of fact, will we see the same effect? I'm expecting him to still go cocky and still be very, very up in his face.
All Draven lanes, you have to.
And you have to do that with Draven. That's how it is. And Soraka's just there to kind of pat him on the back and keep him going.
Right.
And with that, will Lulu be able to peel enough to help Kalista stay safe, or will there be an issue there?
So Polymorph is great in Draven.
Yeah.
So that's something we need to see the way Sawyer uses Polymorph. I mean, it is a losing lane. Any Soraka lane is going to be strong. You're not going to have too much kill potential against Soraka lanes, especially when you take Exhaust. So I think more they're going to look for the team fighting phase and potentially Lulu helping out mid lane.
Yep.
I'd be looking for more of mid lane roams in this game. I think if I was a jungler, if I was a team, I'd be pressuring in the mid lane and the top lane and just leave the bot lane alone to just farm if I was Stars.
Pretty much with that. Ultimate Zero and Tails going to be going ahead and dancing back and forth in that mid lane. No special invades or deep ward coverage at all in this game. It's going to be a fairly balanced out roam for these teams here in the first game of the finals at Ghengis Khan. And with that, being so calm at this moment, it's really like they're probably one of the very few games that we've seen on stream that they didn't invade or look for a kill. So it's surprising at most, but it's also something that won't provide any switch-ups. They want to play the games that they want to play, and they don't want to adapt at all to the early games of either of the other teams.
Yeah, I'm really actually kind of surprised that Kalista Lulu doesn't lane swap into Soraka Draven. That's not a bad lane to lane swap, especially into Ryze. It's almost like a win-win. You're getting away from Draven, meaning he won't get early kills, most likely unless they tower dive.
True.
And you're also shutting down the Ryze. So I'm kind of surprised Stars didn't lane swap, and it kind of shows how confident they are in their laners.
Yep, pretty much. As Talus taking a lot of harass there from Ultimate Zero, as the tip was actually turning on what I thought was going to happen. As the Gatling gun was the first skill he stacked, so damage coming out from that. Thunderlords immediately procs on Gatling gun, but speaking of harassed, here comes Geronimo. He is level 2, he took all of that Gromp. Her exhaust comes down on both sides, so Geronimo's going to be trying to look for a kill. There's a heal, there's the Rend, as Geronimo's going to have to back off. There's the Soraka heal, so much heal coming out from that.
So overall, that's actually a pretty good trade in terms of Geronimo and Entis, because they're going to be able to sustain, whereas Kalista's not, and Ignite going down, and Ultima, bam. Yep. That's what I'm saying. That level 2 power spike coming out from Yasuo is very brutal for Corki. He can't really handle it. And now look at this lane. Nier is half health. Entis back to full health. Geronimo back to full health.
Yep.
So those trades where neither person dies but they still have heavy trades is very good in favor of Geronimo and Entis because Soraka OP.
Soraka is OP, and not to mention Draven can throw out the pain fairly quickly with those spinning axes, as he's going to just try and farm up as much as possible on this side of the map, where on the other side you have Ryze being pushed in with Dr. Snuggles there and Gnar. So damage still being dished out. And with that, there goes another actually engaged Geronimo, getting more cocky as it goes. Nier taking a lot of damage, but Geronimo is low on health. There's the flash, as a matter of fact. Will he be able to get the Rend? No, he won't. Soraka, OP, heal will keep him alive for now.
Yeah, and Soraka's going to continue to heal up there. The big reason that trade went south is that actually Geronimo ran out of mana there.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to be able to keep up with Kalista and continue to fight. And actually we see Event getting engaged on. He is going to be forced to flash out, was afraid of Dr. Snuggles' knock up there. Yeah. But we see this, both the spot lanes being very aggressive. We see Talus go heavy once again onto Ultima. Ultima's going to have to be playing pretty safe now that he's behind.
With that, the tides have turned just ever so slightly. You actually see Kawaii looking for a gank here, but Talus doing more damage on Ultimate Zero. But here comes Kawaii from that gank there. Sawyer and Nier turning back onto him, but that means that Geronimo's going to have free roam here in the bot lane. Will Kawaii go down? Yes, he will, but he'll go to Sawyer, which does not mean Nier will get the cure. Geronimo will pick up that death for him, so he'll get those stacks of his passive on. Sawyer still trying to stay alive. There's the flash. Will he be able to live? Yeah, he'll be able to out with that flash, luckily, but unfortunately, adoration stacks were given over to Draven, which means the snowball's going to start coming, and it's going to start coming a lot faster.
Right, even though that was a 1-for-1, it's still very close. Entis almost going down there. He actually did. He was healthier than that, but he ended up healing there.
Yeah.
So Dr. Snuggles is still only level 3, so that Prey Seeker isn't going to be killing very easily. But you trade 1-for-1 in that exchange in the bot lane, but Geronimo stays alive, so he's getting to farm here, and like you said, he gets those adoration stacks, so he is going to continue to snowball very well. Something we saw in the game against Detached Gaming is that this Draven got out of control, and that's a good start for him.
Yep. With that, Kawaii getting invaded on by Dr. Snuggles there, having to dance around with the blue buff. There is that ward right underneath the blue golem there, as Talus still putting on the hurt in this mid lane. And Ultimate Zero, he's just trying to struggle through this by himself until he gets to around level 6, so he can get some harassment. Mr. Snuggles and Talus, they're looking for a possible fight here.
Yasuo is level 6 here, so look for this knock up onto the Soraka combo.
Yep,
there it is. Sawyer also going up there. Talus getting the kill there, this Yasuo might become a problem very quickly.
Yeah, both of these teams have their hyper carries now. Geronimo on one and Talus on the other. These teams are going to start laying down the pain. And I have to say, I'm giving over to Yasuo right now because he has the kills and the CS advantage. In a sense of carry-wise, Event will just need to scale as usual, while the rest of the team has to hold on tight. Geronimo throwing in some axes, trying to get some harass, but Sawyer and Nier, they do have their heal up and their exhaust.
Yeah, they did see Snuggles over that ward, so they know there is potential die there. As you see the assist me ping coming out from them, they know that Snuggles is in the jungle. Windwall coming out there from Yasuo. It does get the Hurricane knock up there.
And with that, Geronimo still trying to keep the pressure. Dr. Snuggles is still around. Here comes the assist me flag, but also here comes the teleport as well as Dr. Snuggles coming from the back. They have nowhere to go right now. Teleport got canceled by Gnar, as a matter of fact. As Geronimo gonna fall too near here, as Entis is gonna go ahead and fall as well. Double kill there. Nice disruption from Gnar. Ronaldo, beautiful hit with that ultimate. So
yeah, Ronaldo really saved that engage. If Event popped up into that bot lane, it would have been a whole different trade there.
Yeah.
And Ronaldo didn't have TP to follow it up, so that's a clutch stop there from Ronaldo.
Yeah, it was about almost through the entire teleport channel, and it was just the last second. Getting that onto him, Ultima Zero still farming up. And he only has Dorns, but he has not gone back yet. So he is still about 10 gold, just under 6 gold, 6 CS now behind his lane opponent, but he is 2 kills behind. And with that first blood as well, so it's going to cause some issues there. Ronaldo, nice ult there with the wallop as well. Will he be able to get the kill? There's the shield. A lot of damage coming out the flash. Ronaldo's going to pick it up as well, but the turret's going to fall as well. So a decent trade there, but Talus on the other side, he's got a killing spree. He ain't stopping.
Yeah, Ultima, this lane is only going to get worse for him as this game goes on. I mean, look at Yasuo's build off the start. He still doesn't even have very many stats yet, and he's still just able to control this lane completely. Snuggles paying a lot of attention here onto Geronimo, just letting him know that he's there and they can't get to play aggressive without him showing up. So, I mean, all the other lanes are in control.
And this is the factor of being Draven too. When you are such a snowbally champion, people will pay attention to you, and they'll pay attention to you a lot. So kind of that global taunt sense, kind of like a Teemo, but not the same, not the same reason why you have a global taunt. So with that, Geronimo trying to farm up as much as possible. He is still keeping. He's not even that well put out right now in a sense of CS. He only has 27 CS to Nier's 53, so something's going wrong there on the side of Geronimo, but he does have a kill, so that'll help him out just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and sweep off these wards here. To the rest of the team. It seems that Draven actually went and picked up the sweeping lens Soraka got, so he got that ward actually. Wasn't able to get it. Don't know why though.
Yeah, that was weird. I wonder if they both canceled autos there or what happened, but
yeah.
I'm not sure why they didn't pick that up. And Talus is now feeling comfortable enough to start counter-jungling Nunu in between waves.
Yeah,
so
that's not a good thing when the enemy mid laner is taking your mid laner's raptors.
Yeah, and he's also going BF swords, so that's how confident he is. And we do see the Fate's Call. Sawyer bouncing pretty far away, and it looks like Geronimo might be in a little bit of trouble. He should be able to get all healed up from Soraka. This shouldn't be a kill here. So Fate's Call for nothing really there. I mean, it's good to keep the Draven low if possible, but Soraka's just going to heal him right back up.
Pretty much.
And without Fate's Call, they still should have a decent advantage. They were just trying to push level 6 there, but Soraka.
Yeah, and with that, Geronimo just needs to hold on, sit tight, farm up as much as he can, while on the other side, Vent needs to do the exact same. On that near Sawyer, they're going to get engaged on by Quiet here. There was no vision. There's the absolute zero, but there's also a teleport coming in from the side of Ronaldo. Ronaldo is not Meganar yet, but Kawhi is trying to get out of there as fast as possible. There's the burn. Nar's going to pick that one up for himself. And the Meganar, nice Gnar ultimate there, going ahead and pick that one up for himself. But Geronimo's going to fall to him. He's going to pick up that kill as well, but Nier getting that kill. Just the synergy between stars right now is just phenomenal.
Yeah, Ronaldo taking one for the team there. I thought he was going to jump out of this.
Nope.
However, he goes in and he makes sure he gets the Gnar onto the turret, giving away the double kill there. He picked up one himself.
True.
So just really heads up play there, and Talus wants to challenge Event 3 levels ahead of him.
Oh yeah, he is real far ahead, but Snuggles is there as well. If he gets the knockup, this means death for Event, as Talus throwing in his Ignite. Will he be able to get the kill? Yep, just a matter of time, as Rai is trying to run as much as possible. He's really staying alive here, as just trying to kite back. No minions to dash you. The minions are actually blocking, but there's the dash that he needs, so he's going to go ahead and pick up that one, making it a rampage. 11-3 now, as 96 CS, 4 kills on Yasuo. And he's just taking this game by the reins right now, while the rest of his team is supporting him on that.
Yeah, Talus, you see that actually he did pick up Merc Treads.
Yep.
So he's not even worried about Ultima Zero in the mid lane. He's thinking ahead to ganking Event. And we see Kawhi ganking Sawyer and Nier in the bot lane. But Kawhi needs to be very careful. Fake Call coming across. Kawhi gets knocked up, and it looks like he will go down to Nier. Soraka now showing up into the lane a little bit late. Going to try and heal up Geronimo, but Mr. Snuggles joins the party. And the TP is also going to thwart that. However, Event showing up in the bot lane to save that means that
Yasuo can take that top turret.
Talus is still pushing in that top turret, and look at the pigs going down. And if if Nier and Sawyer are smart, they will stop the backs coming out here, and Ultima losing to Ronaldo in the mid lane. Just all sorts of bad things happening for Fraud 5 here.
Yeah, bad news right now for Ultima Zero and the rest of Fraudulent 5 years. Geronimo's trying to do as much as he can here. Nier getting ulted up by Lulu with the growth, as Geronimo trying to do as much as he can, but unfortunately the Soraka heals are not enough against Nier. As Sawyer putting on the BM there, but Entis, don't think he's going to last any much longer here with Snuggles on the back line, diving it in, picking up the kill. Nier's going to grab that dominating, as the rest of Stars is going to be collapsing and crushing into the defenses of Fraudulent 5. And with that, yeah, Fraud 5, they've been getting focused down in this bot lane by Dr. Snuggles, and that's primarily because the other lanes have been doing so phenomenally well that he could just sit there and just
I think Kawhi doesn't exactly know what to do in this scenario. He's used to Ultima being able to help him with the roams, the TPs, and getting out of his lane. But Talus just putting so much pressure down in that mid lane, usually killing Ultima and then roaming afterwards. So really Ultima showing that weakness of if he's not on that Lissandra.
If he's not on, one of any of his comfort picks, and he has to go more into like his champion pool as a sense, it's not good, it's not strong. So he's going to be struggling from that, while on the other side, it's just Talus is just walking all over him right now, and it's really unfortunate to see 15 kills to 3. Here comes Talus to look for Geronimo.
See ya.
There's a possible kill onto this. Ultima Zero's there to back him up, but the damage coming in from Talus is just going to make him unstoppable at the moment. Will Ultima Zero be able to get the kill? No, he won't, as the knockup with Last Breath is going to go ahead and get that one for him. Ronaldo going to fight Event there, picking it up for himself as he flashes, trying to get a slow. He does get that slow with the boulder throw, as he'll try and look for another. Range not far enough. So go ahead, back off from that one.
Stars are showing their confidence right now in this game. Just 2v1ing everywhere Kawhi goes. There's nothing he can do on this Nunu pick. And I think he's going too gank heavy for a Nunu. I mean, he's trying to help lanes, and that's really not something that Nunu excels at.
Claiming objectives. Like, he should be soloing Dragon. He should have been soloing Dragon earlier on. Things like that. With that, the rest of Stars is going to be collapsing on his bot lane, getting the final second tier turret. Ultima Zero going balls to the wall there with the package, but he's going to go ahead and fall to that. Will they be able to get Talus at all? It's a possibility, but it's going to be real hard. Double kill going over to Talus as Draven falls, as well as Entis on Soraka, and that's going to be 3 kills for none. And a red turret over to Stars. The rest of the team going to keep pushing in for this side here.
Yeah, this game is in dire straits right now. I mean, Stars right now is almost double in gold.
Almost.
Almost.
Fairly.
And it's only 15 minutes into the game. Just Stars showing how much control they have. Look at that damage coming out from Ronaldo. Just one Gnar combo, just rotating through Event there. And they really just got to take their time and figure out what's happening in this game.
Yeah, and really what I think they need to do is just think about next game. They need to figure out, they need to analyze this game, look at what the weaknesses are or what they could have used out of Stars and where they can do it, what they can put on the map, what champions they need, what composition, things like that. But at the moment, there is that shutdown. That's a sliver of hope, but when Nier is also doing so well, it's going to be hard to keep them back. I just think that they need to focus on next game at the moment and just let this one slide.
Yeah, Ronaldo sneaking into the backside of the base there, not afraid at all. And as I was talking about earlier this lane, Ronaldo going that Maw, and look how much more effective it's been in this game.
So effective.
Yeah.
Super effective as it is. And
yeah, the tenacity on Maw plus the magic resistance just does really well under Rise in that top lane.
Yep, that's how unfortunately, as he actually picks up a Magi.
This is actually not the first time Ronaldo has done this in this tournament, picking up Magi's on Gnar.
This is not a first for us.
Unfortunately, it's not. So hopefully he gets abused for that at some point in time. Oh, see, there's the second one.
Yep.
There it is. But most likely, really, Fraud 5 needs to look at this game.
Well, it makes me ask, what AP does he scale off of? Is it just the W?
No.
Does the W doesn't scale? It does magic damage.
It does magic damage, but it doesn't
So
scale.
It's just the
they're
He's just
finishing
trolling.
up down there.
Just trolling around.
Just strolling off.
Yeah. So really, Fraud 5 just needs to step back, take a look at this game, figure out what they can do to improve their lanes. Really, they got to figure out what Ultimate needs to do.
Yep. Ultimate needs to get off of this tilt and figure out what he needs to do. And just focus back onto the game at the moment as the rest of it will be going down, as teams will be collapsing into the side of Flushland 5. And that's a lot of damage coming out from Ultimate Zero. They're going to go ahead and pick that one up, as a matter of fact. And even though he's, 1 and 4, 2 and 6 as it is for him, it's just, he still does damage. He has Trinity Force, he has Thunder Lords, like, that's how it works. Talus, however, that's also damage, as he's going to almost two-shot Draven, as he's going to go ahead and try and take out Hawaii. He will pick him up with the final Tornado, but Ultima's going to pick him up for himself. 3 for 6. That's the team trying to push in here. Zero trying to heal up here. Ronaldo looking for a possible kill, but his Narbar is not full yet. Still needs to wait, but Event going in on Ronaldo. He's trying to find a pick, but there's the Malmortius Hawk as he's going to go Mega Gnar. Will he be able to find something? No, there's Dr. Snuggles. He's going to get a nice Gnar ultimate there. He's going to get a double kill for that one. Give himself a pound on the back. You know, Morello's kind of made that work, as well as, Magi, Soul Stealers, and so on. They are unique passives, so that won't stack to 40. But you know how it is.
Already at 10 stacks, though.
Already at 10 stacks. Like, that's pretty quick, but with that, Baron will be in 1 minute and 30 with the rest of the team. Yeah. It's really difficult to kind of see where the rest of Fraudulent 5 will be going, as Stars is just kind of collapsing and just closing their jaw on this game.
Yeah. This is not an easy game to forget and move on for the rest of the series. Remember, this is a best of 5 first game, so Stars just immediately coming out, making a huge statement in this first game. And just, what do you do? I mean, Kawhi and Ultima really have to figure out some way to deal with Talus in that mid lane.
Yeah, I just think Kawhi needs to go back onto his comfort picks, gank heavy junglers, Vi, Sejuani, be that big front line, do the cheese that he used to do back when he played this game more competitively. But then on top of that, Ultimate Zero.
See ya.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a free engage coming out here. I don't expect too many things to go down, although Geronimo does pick up the kill there, but Talus, he's just going to steamroll through this. He actually comes back for Kawhi. I really wanted that kill. Said Soraka, I'll leave you alone. And Geronimo is most likely going to get chased down here. Here comes the knock-up from Snuggles, or he's just going to try and kill him with Simba.
You could really try for it. That would be the most disrespectful death I've ever seen. As you're going to try and find something. Run, Geronimo. Run.
I believe Geronimo. You don't die to Cinderhold.
Oh,
he survived.
He lives to fight another day. As be moving on to the second game here in just a quick moment, but yeah, thoughts once again. I think Kawhi needs to go back on those comfort picks, and then on top of that, just Ultima, he has some more pocket picks that he's stronger at. He just needs to use those pocket picks. And when I'm saying pocket picks, I mean like Swain.
Like Swain, and by that I mean Swain.
Yes, and like he's been a really good Swain throughout most of his career in the Legends here in the Colorado scene. So using that it'll help. And I really think that because he works really well with it, and just concerns us with it. Not to mention that hyper carries are really strong in this meta at the moment, and with Rod of Ages working well on Swain as well. It's just they need that. They need that strong, solid base of a mid laner where they can just rely on him and just hope and pray to God that he can get fed off of that. But then on top of that, as I said, yeah, go back to those comfort picks, Kawhi. And then outside of that, I don't really know. Off the top of my head, I don't know what the rest of the team of Fraudulent 5 can do to help out.
Yeah, I think potentially now is the time to maybe pull out something cheesy.
Yeah.
Game 2, maybe do a 2v1 swap, see if your team is comfortable with it. Maybe do some sort of cheesy invade, like look for something to get yourself ahead and punch you into the game and just kind of make a statement so that stars don't get comfortable with the game.
Yeah, because that first game, it was definitely a dominance asserting game for stars.
Dominance has been asserted.
Yes, and they have just kind of put their claim, they've set their flag down. It's like, this is where we stand. And right now, Fraudulent 5, they need to push back with that. They need to pump their chests up, and they need to fight back with whatever they've got. If that's the Swain that I mentioned, or if that's even the Aurelia cheese from Event, like something that will help them out later on in the game. So we'll be taking just a quick break as the rest of the team members get into the lobby for this second game of the Best of 5 series here at Ghengis Khan. My name's Coco the Dragon. This is I Ride Keystone. We'll be back in just a short bit. Alright everybody, welcome back. This is going to be game 2 for the finals here at Ghengis at the League of Legends tournament. I'm Goku the Dragon, this is I Ride Keystone, and we're going to jump right into the picks and bans phase for you guys. Teams have swapped sides, so Frozen 5 is going to be on blue in this side, Stars is going to be on red, but bans, pretty normal. However, the Callista ban is now in there, so no more Callista on the knee.
Yeah, interesting switch up there, switching up to Callista. I think they want to try and utilize the fact that Nier and Sawyer have been using that Fate's Call to just bring him back. Also the Gnar. So they want to force Ronaldo off of his normal picks. So they're potentially using Stars' way of forcing Ultima out of his picks and use it against them to try and force Ronaldo and Nier off of their comfort picks.
And for that, with those comfort picks now gone, Stars thinking what they want to ban. Why not ban another?
This has got to be a Lissandra pick, right?
Disrespect all over the place. Aurelia being banned out, so Event will no longer be able to get that onto his side of the board. However, Janna is open, and with the rest of those OPs, you can start making some picks. Janna, with that, provides that disengage, but Elise on the other side is going to be grabbed up, as well as Lulu.
Yeah, Sawyer is going to be playing Lulu once again.
That, or it's going to be in maybe the mid lane, Talismol, but
and
from
just
what
really
I've
wants
seen,
to play
Talismol has just been playing a lot of carries. So, yeah, as you said, Sawyer probably going to go in that support with Lulu.
That is not going to be Soraka's pick, by the way.
If it is, I don't know. Like, it went okay, it's just the factor of Callista and Lulu worked out a little much better. So we'll have to see if they want to lock that in. As you said, there's already a Janna. Might as well go top Soraka, why not, right? Cheese. Straight up cheese. There will be nothing else here. Just supports, Alessandra, and then an AD
So just go like Kog'Maw or something, just straight
Kog'Maw,
utility.
Janna.
But they won't.
But see a hover over Katarina at the moment. Assadin as well. All of these mid laners. But we're going to finally lock in with Geronimo.
That's not surprising there.
Going in with that Lucian with Janna. So good defense and offense coming in from that side, because Lucian just is such a good all-around AD carry. And then on top of that, Janna works really well with Lucian, just adding that extra attack damage and that heal from the shield and so on. So now that that bot lane's been revealed though, this gives Stars that opportunity to use either that Lulu flex pick and find a counter. Ezreal is a possibility, however it takes a little bit longer to scale than would a Lucian. So maybe not the greatest idea, but it's still something that is much like Lucian in the sense that it can heal for itself and provides a good bounce.
So this is a pick we've been talking about, and we've been surprised that it hasn't been picked up by teams.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming Ronaldo doesn't play it, but apparently Talus plays Gangplank. And this is something that's very strong right now. The global ult pressure coming out of Gangplank is huge, and the barrel damage late game in team fights it's game changing. So I'm not surprised at all by this Gangplank pick, and I'm excited that people are picking it up.
Yeah, Gangplank just such a powerhouse right now with those barrels, but you have to rely on those barrels. And that's the thing with Gangplank, is that if he doesn't get those, the team fights are almost gone completely. So with that, the Ezreal lock in as well, so you've got that safe, supportive backline damage coming in from Ezreal. And with that, we see a hover on Kawaii going for his lane. Now, it is possible they will need that frontliner to be switched into the top lane.
That Nasus may actually be real.
It's definitely a possibility, but I don't think Event likes playing Nasus.
Yeah, Nasus actually does pretty decently in a Gangplank, so that's why I wasn't surprised, but Ryze doing relatively well in Gangplank. That's a skill matchup, so
they're just going to keep those two safe.
We also have to assume, too, that Ronaldo could be playing that in the top lane. He could be playing Lulu in the top lane. I doubt it. I think they're going to take their top lane pick right now, or their mid lane pick.
With that, with the Ryze and Lissandra, still going to keep those solo laners on their comforts. And with Kawaii on Kindred, might provide some damage in that early game, but the problem is from what I'm seeing, the way that Kawaii plays, he's not really that kind of a player that really works well on Kindred. He wants to be up front and be doing things. If he can get good timings on his ultimate, that's a possibility. But still, he needs that front liner, and I just don't think that Kindred will work well with this team. Sejuani would have been a better pick.
Malphite.
But there's that Malphite lock-in. So there's our top laner for us.
Yeah, that's Ronaldo, and they are going to take Gangplank to the mid lane. Like I said, I didn't think Ronaldo played that Gangplank.
No.
It's showing us he doesn't play that Gangplank, and so they're going to take the AP Malphite in the top lane, and overall, these comps are looking quite different than what we've seen from both these teams throughout the tournament.
Kind of, sort of.
Besides besides Event and Ultima.
Well, yeah, Geronimo
other than that,
Lucian. Like, Lucian's finally showing up in this tournament. He has been giving a decent showing, though I don't think he's winning a game successfully just yet. He's just been able to win those lanes, and that's what they need. They just need to win these lanes against Stars, and from there they can take it and experiment. But even then, as much cheese as possible for Fraudulent 5, as where Stars will just need to set in and just camp out until those power spikes come in from Gangplank and Malphite, and just the team fights all over the place. Yeah, the big potential from Elise too, so early game can be covered.
Yeah, this is going to be another interesting laning phase. I think personally for this one, if I was Kawhi, I'd be leaning towards that top and mid lane once again. Janna and Lulu, pretty safe supports. However, if the last games have showed us anything, they don't care if they're safe or not. They're going to play them aggressive.
Very, very true. So they're going to try and be balls into the wall on that one. And with that, we're going to be going into the delay here. And Lissandra against Gangplank. Now, I know that Gangplank's a mid laner. He does have double teleport. Both of these teams are running double teleport on this match. But, again, Gangplank versus Lissandra. Both of them are kind of safe. Gangplank is very mana dependent earlier on.
Right.
So I'd like to see how that turns out. What are your predictions on that mid lane?
Yeah, once again, I think Snuggles is just going to provide more pressure than Kawhi will in this mid lane. So I think Gangplank will have the upper hand, and the fact that he can use oranges to get out of Lissandra ults.
Yeah.
So Talus should be able to play this well enough that if he hits a good barrel and Snuggles is around, Ultima's going to have to go summoners. So really look for where Snuggles is deciding to prioritize. Ezreal's going to scale fine without much help. Malphite is going to be useful in team fights no matter what. Gangplank, the earlier you hit its power spike, the better. So if I was Snuggles, I'd be definitely leaning towards that mid lane. And you saw how well Talus did in that last game when he was able to run from mid lane because he had help.
Yeah. So we'll be looking into that very shortly. And then Malphite versus Ryze seems pretty basic, just farming up as much as you can. Really nothing too bad. Ryze won't be able to kill Malphite earlier on. Same goes for Ronaldo on Malphite to Ryze. And with that, the bottom lane, once again, looks like a safe pick for Nier and Sawyer. They just want to scale up as much as possible, where Geronimo and Entis are going to be looking for kills.
Yeah, I mean, no matter how safe these bot lanes are, we know Nier and Geronimo like to fight.
Yeah.
So we've said this a couple times, and every single time they get into some pretty big skirmishes level 2.
Yeah.
So that's always a tipping point in bot lane too, depending on how those levels 2 goes. I would assume Geronimo and Entis have the upper hand in the level 2. Lucian's just such a big power spike, especially with that shield on. That's 120 AD, getting the double proc off the passive.
Yeah.
It just ends up doing a lot of damage in the bot lane, where Lulu can mitigate some of it, but just extended trades, as Nier is really dependent on hitting Qs. If he can hit Qs, they'll trade pretty evenly, but if Geronimo is using his E to dodge Qs in trades, Geronimo's going to come out on top.
Pretty much. So we're going to be loading in here in the next 5 seconds, and with that, it's pretty interesting on both of those team comps. So definitely have to give that laning phase over to the bot lane and Fraudulent 5, but even then, Stars has just showed to be super, super powerful in every department that they've had. Ronaldo's carried games, Talus has carried some games, Nier's has carried some games. Like, everyone has shown and has been shining in that box in the entirety of Stars, so we'll have to see how that works out for them as we're going to be loading in here fairly shortly. I'd like to see how these level 1s go out though, so just see how that turns out for them as finally connecting into the game here, and I have to say, pretty excited for this one.
Yeah, as we're loading into the game, we should be in any second now. There we go. And pretty normal buys coming across. We do see double potions coming out for Malphite and Gangplank on both sides. So they're looking to initially play the lane safely. They know they're going to get poked pretty early in lane. Not really surprising in those matchups. And it looks like they're potentially line of scrimmaging. So
yeah, pretty basic line of scrimmage once again. Entis looking for a deep ward into that part as Parlay comes out there from Talus. He's going to have to back off from there. There's the Thunderlord's proc as the rest of the team backs off for now.
Entis getting those spell thief procs, so that's a win.
Yeah, that's a plus. That's a plus. It's definitely a plus.
That's 10 golds right there. That's a huge advantage.
GG, a fifth for 20. That's how it goes with the Spell Thief's Edge. And with that, as a matter of fact, did have to recall, and I've noticed this as a trend throughout how Entis plays with these supports. It doesn't matter what support he's on, he's always aggressive. He's always in their face. So with being a Soraka, maybe not the greatest idea, or being a Janna, Janna's okay. Being in their face with an aggressive AD carry like Geronimo is, it helps out and it checks out, but still, it's if you're not a very tanky frontline support and you're trying to be in the enemy carry's face, you're gonna get blown up quick. So.
Right. And it looks like the minions will crash, and junglers both starting on that top side, as we discussed earlier in the tournament, allowing those bot lanes to take both the Grump and Krugs. So both lanes will be coming back relatively even in experience. Be just fine. Talus is going to be actually harassing him more with the Q. A lot of Gangplanks, for the most part, they farm with the Q to get the Silver Serpents. But Talus wants to kind of assert some dominance in this lane and just start firing these Qs, already putting ultimate down relatively low.
Yep, pretty much. And with that, he did go Corruption Potion, so when he is chugging those down, he'll be doing additional damage over time onto Ultima Zero there. So I'll have to see how that works out for him. It's not that much early on, and it usually isn't. Like, it's only like a couple hits every now and then, but it pretty much negates health regeneration in a sense. So with that, they're going to go ahead and keep this farming going. Geronimo and Ent is actually on the defensive here as Nier and Sawyer throwing down some hurt.
Yeah, Geronimo and Entis didn't push for that level 2. Kind of hard to do with Janna, especially into Lulu. Lulu's just going to be a better pushing power. Now they're going to even out the lane. Level 2s, they should trade relatively evenly here. Barrel's just missing in the mid lane.
With 3 minutes in the game, Ultimate Zero actually going to go in. Here's Kawaii to help him out here. Going to jump in, try and find a possible kill. There's a flash, but also Snuggles is here too, getting the cocoon onto Ultimate Zero. That's going to be first blood going over to Talus there. Very well. Just a very good reaction there from the side of Snuggles.
This is exactly what Mr. Dr. Snuggles and Talus wanted.
Yep.
They wanted that early counter gank to come, or gank in the mid lane, and they got exactly what they wished for. Talus getting ahead early again, just like last game.
Getting in there. 20 CS to 10, so he's 10 up and with a kill as well. There's the damage coming in from Geronimo. Still, he's pretty low, and he's not trading effectively in this bottom lane here. So we have to figure out what they need to do to keep it a little bit more even and play passively. But yeah, Nier and Sawyer definitely being on that pressure right now, as no teleport or splash used, but whoa, Geronimo taking a lot of damage, as Nier taking some hits as well from Entis, but no mana on him, so he can't use any shields or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Nier, well, fortunately for Nier, he actually just popped his pot too, so he's going to be much healthier than Geronimo, who previously popped his pot. However, Entis getting some good harass down onto Nier. Not too terrible of a trade there. I mean, supports trading with 80 carries is generally okay, except for they need to be very careful here, as actually Kawaii coming in and the TP also coming in, really forcing that bot lane. TP is going to be canceled from event.
From Ultima Zero.
So that was Ultima Zero's TP. So Lysandra canceling that TP in the bot lane, forcing Nier off of Geronimo and Entis. And Entis continue to go for these trades, but they need to be very careful about the gank coming out here. Kawaii he's stopping his recall, so he might know this is coming, but Geronimo going to have to be forced to back off here. Entis is out of mana. He needs to be very careful about the cocoon. But both teams probably going to back off here, maybe? They're trying to pick this 3v3 in the bot lane. I'm not sure that Fraud 5 wants it. Ronaldo going for some trading onto Event in the top lane. Actually very successfully trading. Room Prison does come down. He's going to kite back Q from Malphite, going to slow him a little bit, but Event not having as successful a trades as I would have thought into Malphite early.
Yeah, with that Event losing that trade in the top lane there against Malphite. So he'll have to back off just a little bit there. Get back into his turret, reassess the situation. He does have Doran's ring, so we have some decent mana sustain as well as some ability power on top of that. So with that, Snuggles going to go ahead and show up in the mid lane, assert some more dominance as he goes and transitions back to his jungle to deny that Callista her passive on the hunt. So we'll have to see how that goes for him as Talus going to go and help out with the Raptors as well. Steal one for himself, pat on the back. +9 on that. We'll have to go and see how that works out for them. The rest of the team going to go and recall as everyone resets these lanes. We saw Geronimo, he picked up 2 long swords. He doesn't have that much. Simon's here. And Kawhi still farming up as much as they possibly can. However, Kawhi has gone back where Snuggles has not. He's still sitting on top of just the first starter item of the jungle. And with that, we got Rise as well. He finished his tier. Well, he's got his tier. And then Spectre's Cowl there on top of Malphite. So let's see how that turns out for him, as well as an interesting pickup on the side of Gangplank. He got the Serrated Dirt. So that might be looking for Amon Malmoris.
Potentially, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's probably good. Geronimo going to go in for a trade here, and here's the Gangplank ult that we talked about. Geronimo forced to flash out, but flash coming from near. Good tornado coming out from Entis, but Entis is now going to be forced to flash here, trading 2 flashes for 1. Also Gangplank ult there. Overall, I mean, that's a lot of pressure that the Gangplank we were talking about. Just global pressure for free. 50% slow coming on top of you in the bot lane just really makes it brutal when you try to play aggressive.
With that very low health on the side of Fraudulent Five's bottom lane here, they're going to have to back off, just missing that arcade shot right there. So Talus going to recall, deny that pink ward as Snuggles continues onwards, as he still hasn't gone back 7 minutes into the game. Pretty surprising. It's the sustain from Elise, so that's how it works for him, and we'll continue on as the rest of the team will farm up. Looking at the farming game, however, you got 37 on Lucian and then 58 on Nia here, so he's falling behind ever so slowly. Ever so slowly, Lucian's falling behind. And with that 61 to 44 on the side of Lissandra to Gangplank, but actually his support left, and will he be able to get a kill? Nope, no he won't. Ultimate Zero was able to spread them apart as Sawyer will go and fall, possibly. Will he get a kill? Nope, Geronimo is going to go ahead and do enough damage for Ultimate Zero to claim that one for himself. A little bit of a misplay there on the side of Stars' bot lane.
Yeah, they just really weren't expecting that TP into the lane coming out from Ultima. Ultima, this is something he's shown throughout the tournament that he's done very well to help his bot lane with those global TPs and getting the stack over to... sorry, it looks like they're going to start doing this dragon, but immediately regretting that decision.
Yeah, no,
Kindred did get the stack onto Scuttle, however, though, so that helps her power spike there.
Yeah, and with that, you see an engagement on the top lane. Ronaldo's taking a lot of damage there. Event dishing out as much as he possibly can. Running out of his mana fairly low on that, so he's going to have to back off from that. But as a matter of fact, Kawhi and Snuggles meeting in the jungle there in the bot. Will he be able to get some trades? No, just a cocoon and some auto attacks there on his side.
Yeah, I think he was afraid of a little bit of backup coming there for Kawhi.
Yeah.
Kawhi kind of sniffing this one out. It seems like he knows he's there. But in the bot lane, they're going to merge here, and Kawhi is going to be in a little bit of trouble. The ult does come across, and he is going to be forced to flash, but the auto is going to follow. The trade is going to come across, though. It looks like the 80 carries will trade. Kindred is also going to go down to near in that exchange. So 1 for 1, but this is still going to continue to help snowball Geronimo here.
Yeah, Lamb's Respite was just enough to keep him alive long enough to lower the Ezreal and get that kill for the trade. Unfortunate that the auto attack followed, as continue to die there, as the rest of his team is still doing pretty well. You've got a 0 and 3 Jana, in a sense of assisted death, that is. So she's been doing fairly well, has 100% kill participation, but Ultimate Zero looking for Dr. Snuggles here. Is that a flashlight I just saw? But as a matter of fact, Snuggles going to have to flash out. Lulu Ultimate popped onto him. Ultimate Zero trying to do as much as he can as Geronimo is up in their faces. There's the exhaust. He has double buffs. He has red. Possibly can get a kill, but now he's caught out a little bit. He's going to have to back off, and Kite, he's in the barrel. No, as a matter of fact, yeah, he's going to go ahead and fall down to Snuggles there on a killing spree. Shut down as getting a kill trade for trade, but this is going to be making it 2 for 1 now, as Nier has come in just in time to find some picks. Ultimate Zero baiting out the claw there, but oh, here comes Event. That's a lot of damage coming out from that Rise. This is going to go ahead and get that kill onto Nier. 5 to 4 in those kills, so it's a 2 for 2 now in that trade. I'd say pretty worth for the side of Fraudulent 5.
Yeah, pretty good trade there, but Ultima is going to get flash ulted on there from Ronaldo, and now it's going to be a 2v1 in the mid lane. Event should just be able to walk out of this no problem. Rune Prison is going to go down, just barely missing turret aggro. Malphite, though, is not going to go down anytime soon to Event after those recent purchases.
Yep, now went in favor of Stars when he flash ulted in there to get that 3 for 2, so pick that one up for them as it makes it 5 for 5 now, 16.6k gold to 17.4, and that's just going to let them get a little bit closer in sense of those gold leads. And I have to say, Geronimo doing fairly well on Lucian this game, as he is 3-1, though he is lagging a little bit behind in the CS game, but it's not something that's noticeable, it's just a small amount.
Right, especially since Ezreal went the tier build, pretty normal to what we're seeing, but he went the tier build, so the spike will be behind Lucian's initially, but he will power spike harder after 2 items. So Lucian will output more damage than Nier on that Ezreal right now. After 2 items, though, Nier will be outputting a larger amount than Geronimo.
Yep. That Geronimo going to push into this bottom lane here. Will he be able to get anything? Maybe, maybe not.
And here comes a roam from Lissandra as well. Yep, something we're very used to seeing. There are no wards in the bot lane, so watch this wave to push out. And it doesn't look like Lissandra's going to come back. We do see some pings. Gangplank should have ult very soon. Pink coming down from Entis. Should be interesting. That they're trying to really get these teleport ganks to help out their bot lane and to really just punish for any overextension that's happening. But Stars is catching on quick, and they're just starting to farm safe and try to get through laning phase.
Yeah, with that, we'll go ahead and possibly find something there. As the rest of the team just possibly looking for something. Geronimo just trying to zone him out there from the CS game. As getting that blue buff for Ultimate Zero. The rest of the team's going to go ahead and look around for that moment. Really just a lull at the moment, just a calm before the storm until these skirmishes start happening in this mid-game here. So we'll have to see how that goes for them as the rest of both these teams farming up as much as they possibly can. 97 CS in that top lane to 110. So Rise definitely starting to take that advantage lead over his lane opponent in a sense of farm. However, they are both 1-0, so nothing too exponential or vast in a sense, as Rod of Ages is almost done for Event.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to wait until these teleport plays come again, or a potential dragon is played. The junglers are gonna both apply bot lane pressure. That's really the only kill potential they have in the other lanes. With Gangplank playing as safe he is, and Event is most likely not going to be able to dive that tanky of a Malphite. He went Merc Treads. He's going to be able to get out of Rune Prison very quickly, and then he should be able to dodge a lot of damage. Event will be able to bully Ronaldo for a while under this turret, though. Sawyer is going to clear that pink ward that Entis placed down earlier. Glide just going to finish another jungle rotation, and just really, we're just going to have to wait and see. It seems like both teams are kind of waiting until they hit their item spikes, and then we're going to have very large explosive fights coming out.
Yep, pretty much for that one, as for these teams, they're just trying to farm up as much as they possibly can to get what they need. I do see a Duskblade of Drakthar though on Gangplank, so that's the first new item of this tournament, Duskblade of Drakthar. Just to remind everyone, it's 75 attack damage, 5% movement speed, and applies a Z debuff pretty much, where over a course of 2 seconds it will eventually pop and deal 25% of the champion's missing health. So that's a nice plus bonus for Gangplank, because when he hits that barrel, it will apply, and it puts a debuff on everyone that's hit. So cause some issues there in these team fights later on, as now he's building for his Trinity Force now that is all said and done.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how well that scales. I haven't seen the item on Gangplank. The logic behind it is there.
Yeah.
So as we see, actually Geronimo getting engaged on the exhaust coming across. Ronaldo is going to TP in as well, and it looks like the counter TPs are going to come across. Wild Growth plus the Malphite ult is going to disengage the fight, and here comes Kindred with a great ult, and Ultima is going to pick up Dr. Snuggles on that side, and here we go, the 5v3 in the bot lane. However, Gangplank is going to show up, and Geronimo going aggressive onto Ronaldo. Nier is going to go down to Event, and it looks like really good counter TPs coming out there from Ultima and Event, just forcing that 4v5, and also Entis had a clutch Monsoon that fight.
Yeah, very clutch Monsoon, very clutch Lamb's Respite, being back enough, but also forward enough for them to fight inside of it, but Stars was not able to get in it. And then on top of that, Ultimizio being able to peel to keep in between, sort of that middle ground between the Lamb's Respite and the rest of Stars. So really well fought on that side, 2-0 on that skirmish there, as the rest of Stars is now up, and they're looking for some vengeance now. As Dragon is up, they might be looking for their first Dragon of this game, as the objective score is pretty low. It's only one turret in favor of Frog 5.
Yeah, this is a pretty dangerous Dragon that they're going to pull here. They're still low from the last fight. Full respawns have happened across, and it looks like an engage is going to go down as well. Ultima Zero a little bit caught out on the upper side of the fight. He will get executed by Mr. Dr. Snuggles, as well as the Dragon started to reset, also secured by Elise on that fight. So 1-0 in that secondary fight with the Dragon picked up. Not the smartest decision to fight that Dragon.
Nope, not just yet. So gonna have to back off from that one. Claim it for themselves. Stars is going to have that first Dragon, which adds that additional 6% ability power and attack damage, so going to hit a little bit harder now for the side of Stars. And with that, first turret down, so now turrets are even, but gold is not, but just barely 1,000 gold over.
Yeah, and an interesting reaction between Janna and Kindred that makes his team comp so awesome. That we saw in the last fight is that Janna has the power of pushing people out of the Kindred ult and healing her team. So really you can bait that out, and then once your team gets in the Kindred ult, she can push all the enemies out, and then you get the double heals from both the Kindred ult and the Janna Monsoon, and then you can finish off the other team because they're immediately pushed out of the Kindred ult.
Yep.
So it's really a cool, unique combo that does very well. And you see Geronimo taking a lot of damage. Flash coming out from Taliesin just on a killing spree now. Geronimo cannot be sitting alone against a Gangplank.
Not anymore, you can, as Nier is going to go ahead and disengage from that bot lane. As the rest of his team is going to go ahead and look for something on their own. Is picking up that kill 3-0 on Gangplank now, 149 CS. So he's definitely a big powerhouse for the side of Stars. And Snuggles picking up that final Scuther. And looking at this game now, you've got Elise. She picked up a Runic Echo. She's going to be going full tank now. She went that Negatron Cloak with the boost of Swiftness. So with that, there'll be some frontline on top of Malphite as well, who did finish up a Sphere Visage, as well as the Mercury Tread. So a lot of magic resistance coming out, but on the plus side, that means Lucian has some more room. But speaking of room, Event does not have any, as Snuggles is going to go ahead and engage onto him. Lots of damage coming out from this 3-man here, but that's going to go ahead and close the doors for Event. Snuggles is going to go ahead and pick down one of them for himself, making him 2-2.
Yeah, Event was attempting to machine gun that entire time, and look how much damage Mr. Dr. Snuggles took. Pretty much none.
None.
So that just shows the Event, well, how good Lulu is at just peeling Event's damage on that rise. I mean, the Polymorph coming out stops all the damage, the shield, then the Wild Growth. it takes him too long to get through that.
Yeah, it does. It does indeed. So, going to be taking this big board out for himself. And with that, Rift Herald is going to be taken from Stars. So will they be able to find something, or are they looking for a fight? They did get Rift Herald just in time before the Baron popped. Woo. But there's the ultimate, Zero ultimate. As damage coming out across the map, they had to jump out of that Baron pit before there was a fight. Baron spikes did kind of hit that back line there, but they're going to have to force out. Malphite is down now. They had to get that out of that way. And with that, 7 to 8 in the kills. Baron is now live, but Stars is low, which means a push in the mid lane is going to go ahead and pick up a turret.
Yeah, this should be a free mid lane turret, potentially the second one as well. I mean, you have very good push potential between Lucian and Kawhi on that Kindred, so they could potentially get quite a bit of damage here. The home guards are going to come in, though, and it looks like they're going to try and rotate off this Gangplank with that barrel onto Entiso, and look at the Gangplank ult. It's almost up. They're chasing because this Gangplank ult is about to pop.
Yep.
And as well as the Ezreal will be up relatively soon here. Oh, there's the Gangplank ult. Look for the potential engage. They are split. Dr. Snuggles is going to get engaged on, but Kindred's going to pop ult. No one's going to die in that area. However, here we go. This is where the real fight starts. Talus coming in on that side. Geronimo going to push onto Talus right there. The flash in, but instantly gets crit by Talus. The oranges are eaten, but Event is going to take down on the backside. Lissandra is going to go down, trying to zone near there. And Event going a little bit too deep here. Mr. Dr. Snuggles going to also, Nier is actually going to pick up that final kill, and it looks like that is going to be a disengage off that fight and potential Baron off the backside.
Yep, so they're going to be and try and look for this Baron here. They are fairly low, so it is questionable if it's a Baron pickup for them. So with that, they do find Entis. Entis, you are out of position there, and you're going to go ahead and fall to the red buff of Ezreal with that final auto attack, making it a killing spree for him, 5 and 4. He is catching back up, but even then, he's got Gangplank to carry him, so he's got some weight off of his shoulders for that.
Yeah, and overall, too, I think that Stars is just going to start to potentially outscale. I mean, Gangplank is going to scale really well into the late game. Ronaldo, Malphite ults just only get worse as teamfights goes on. And Nier, he did just pick up that second part of his Iceborne Gauntlet, so now he's going to be able to kite pretty well here. So
that one NDP event going to be pushing into this bottom lane here. Talus with that wave here from Gangplank is just huge right now, so going to be doing that there as he's actually going to go ahead and engage on that. I don't think you should fight that there. Talus.
Oh, that crit.
Oh my goodness.
That is worst case scenario right there.
I thought Event was going to win that one, but we had to stop that for a little moment as Ronaldo's going to be going in on Entis. There's the barrel. Didn't hit Entis, though, as there's Geronimo trying to do some damage. He's just going to be able to get Talus, as Talus is now dead. Ronaldo trying to fight this 2v1. He does not have ultimate. He did use it. Will they be able to get the kill? There's the flashy there from Ronaldo picking up that kill, which means the forced disengage for Geronimo as the rest of Stars is now there to reply. It's a 2v4 now in favor of Stars. Will they be able to get a kill at all? There's the Lulu pop up to tank up the turret. There's the disengage from the repel, and there's a kill on the ultimate 0 off for Nier, so we're going to get that one. Yeah, Stars just out-rotating completely, 16-9 at the moment. And it's phenomenal how well and how quickly they're able to react to each other's communication at the moment. It's been doing so well on that factor, and it's really the discrepancy of how these teams are playing. They all have really good skill, very high skill level on their mechanics. It's just the communication between the teams is that big difference.
Yeah, it's definitely a big difference to say the least. I mean, really, those early game fights were going relatively even, but then the scaling just started coming in from this Gangplank, and he just started, look at that crit in that last fight. It's hard to handle those style of crits, especially if he gets them on barrels. That's where that crit happens all over your team, and then you get a Gangplank on top of it. It's just really hard to deal with, and as Event looked like he completely won that 1v1, and then that RNG factor came in and just ruined his party.
Yeah, and with the barrels, it is the total attack damage of the attack that you hit the barrel with, plus 250 to champions, and then crit on top of that. So crazy it is. Entis is actually going to get engaged on by Ronaldo. Ronaldo's going to pick up that kill for himself as Event, trying to find something, but Sawyer's ultimate's already up. He's going to have to get out of there. there is Talus on the backside, so they're going to try and pick that one up there. Kawhi trying to stay alive as much as possible. He will not be able to find a kill. However, Ultimate Zero will on the flip side as he goes ahead and picks up Snuggles for himself. Sawyer, Near, and the rest of the gang are going to be running down, trying to find a pick onto Ultimate Zero and Geronimo. Geronimo doing wolves, but he's going to have to disengage off of that one. As the rest of Stars going to be pushing down into this top lane. There are pings coming out right now from Baron, but that's questioning if they're doing Baron. But right now they are showing mid, so we can't do anything at the moment. We're going to go ahead and push that mid down, top down as a matter of fact. We're going to go ahead and clear that off. Those barrels asserting their dominance with those ticking time bombs.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try and fight this out a little bit more in stall, but the longer they sit here, the more the barrels are starting to come up there. Look at that crit coming out from Dallas. Just brutal. And they're only going to get worse as the game goes on. 7-2 and 4 Gangplank, and he's starting to build Infinity Edge. So once that hits, those crits are going to be 250% and just massive.
Pretty much. And with that, Sawyer taking out that ward there when he's spotted with his pink. He's going to keep finding those wards, denying that vision, but Event's going to flash in onto Sawyer. Will he be able to get anything? Yes, he will. He's going to go ahead and pick that up for himself. As the burst damage of Rise, it's still something to consider in these games. As he does have he has Rod of Ages and Seraph's Embrace, so nothing else he can do on that one.
Yeah, that's a pretty big power spike getting that Seraph's Embrace on to Event, and really he needs to stay alive. Him and Geronimo are pretty much the entire team here, so they really need to use this disengage to make sure that they're not getting blown up. And you see that Talus now has enough Silver Serpents to upgrade the ult, but they're going to try and engage on him. It looks like he does orange the initial slow, but the flash coming out from Ultima and almost getting crit. And it looks like Ronaldo's going to come in over the backside. Not sure who to focus there. Geronimo going to escape with a sliver of health. Ultima's going to go in and try and peel this out and kite to Event on that rise. Ronaldo going deep, but it looks like he's going to get exhausted by Antis. The Q coming out, not going to be enough to finish him off. Kawhi and Event going on to Ronaldo, but here they come from that backside. Elise is going to come in and go immediately executing Kawhi on that Kindred. Mr. Snuggles looking for more. Geronimo trying to get back into the fight. Event is trying to peel for this back line and get onto it, but Ronaldo just face tanking him, and he's going to get executed once again by Mr. Dr. Snuggles, picking up a double kill in that fight. Ends up being a 3-for-1 and almost an ace.
Very, very close to being an ace, but Enz is able to get out of there, as well as Geronimo by just blinking red bars right now, as the rest of Stars is going to be looking for a possible Baron now. Ronaldo is healthy enough. There's the TP coming in from Gangplank, so Talus will be there to help out with the barrels. Snuggles should be angling this though. Ronaldo should be, as the rest of Stars pushing in, trying to get this Baron. It will go down fairly quickly for a 27-minute game. Ultimate Zero, desperation right there, as well as Entis and Geronimo. Geronimo going to go ahead and take that one out for themselves, as the rest of the team resets that ace there, as Rise just finally coming up. And I have to say that was full-on desperate. Full-on desperate there from Project 5 as the rest of the team seeing what they can do to defend.
Yeah, they were really afraid of them getting that Baron buff, and they burned it so quickly. That team is so good at burning through Baron with Elise, Gangplank, and Ezreal. So it just went down much faster than they thought. If they got there and got to stall them in the pit, that fight would have gone much differently. Kawhi and Dr. Mr. Snuggles running into each other. BAM! Ooh. Instantly blown up by Mr. Dr. Snuggles. Not much Kawhi could have done there on that Kindred. Just not expecting that burst. Event just hanging out. And he's like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to fight that Gangplank. And he's just going to go back to base? No, he's going to go for the flank here onto Talus. They're going to let this mid lane go. But with this many people showing in the bot lane on Talus, they're going to lose a couple turrets, if not 3. And Talus is just going to come get bursted up by Event there. So trying everything that he can, Event is, to get his team back in this game. But Stars with these rotations at the top lane.
Yep, just rotations. And with that, the more this game goes on, the harder it's going to get for the side of Fraudulent 5. And really just, at this moment, so much damage. Event getting caught out by another Cocoon, and just the damage coming in from Elise, and then that final clip of the Ezreal ult. Here's Ultimate Zero trying to see if he can heal back up, but unfortunately he can't. Will he be able to get out? He will be able to, but Ronaldo's right there with the ultimate, trying to get him off of that Lamb's Respite, as Ezreal coming in with 2 kills there, getting a double kill, make that a triple kill. However, Snuggles stealing the Quadra from him there. as the rest of Stars is going to be making that ace and pushing into the base now, taking this first inhibitor turret fairly quickly. The rest of the team pushing onwards. Will they be able to close it out quickly? It is 13 to 31. Death timers are still long. It's 15 seconds, 3 seconds till rise, but they've got 4 mans right there, and Gangplank just popped an ult, so there are no minions. Looks like they're going to be knocking down on this final Nexus turret here. Nexus turret going down, wailing in on the Nexus. Oh, there's a vent right there.
A wild event
to
fierce.
take him out. Yeah.
Just going to flash away, but instantly blown up by a Nair. It looks like Sawyer is just gonna go for this one-on-one support slap fight, but that's going to be game 2 there, going over to Stars, and once again, just in dominant fashion.
Yep, dominant fashion indeed, as the victory plays out for Stars for that best of 5 it is. So second game, going over to them. We're gonna take a little bit break, let the teams replan, so on and so forth, as we're going to be back here for the finals for the Ghengis Khan League of Legends tournament. Be right back with you just a quick second. Hey everybody, quick announcement here. It seems that we're going to be running short on time, so we're not going to be able to cast this final best of 5 series here, so we're going to be sitting on that 2-0 right now. Doesn't mean the tournament's over. They're still going to be playing out this best of 5. We're just not going to be able to stream it for you guys, so fortunately that's going to happen. However, we will still post the results on the Ghengis Khan Facebook page, as well as CLOL as well, so if you are attached to either of those, go ahead and follow those as well. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to both Novastar Gaming for providing us PCs for this convention, as well as Alienware for helping sponsor the convention as well. You guys are all great. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a good night, and GG to the teams.
Thanks, guys.
See ya. Have a good one.